Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the For the Crew podcast. Today we've got another great episode featuring a host of different guests. Today we've got Tyler with Big TV NSC, AJ with Atlanta United Fan TV, and Ronnie and Vass from Soccer View Radio. But just like before, we've also got some news to cover in regards to the crew first before we get into the season preview. Last episode, we talked about the rumors surrounding Jason Russell-Rowe and Jamal Thiari. Well, long story short, Jason is out and Jamal is in. Next, over at our third division Columbus Crew 2, we've announced the signing of 3 new MLS Next Pro player contracts, 1 for defender Rui Aiko, and 2 for midfielders Johan Chirinos and Moses Neyman. Rui is a 23-year-old defender from Japan who just had a very successful collegiate career over at the University of Vermont. Johan is a Honduran international coming from FC, and if I butchered this, I am so sorry, Ingolstadt 2, with caps at the under-21 level also. Neyman actually has previous MLS experience, having played for DC United and Real Salt Lake, and he's also been a professional player since he was 15 years old. There's a lot of experience behind him coming in. The crew's in the midst of their second preseason training camp all the way down in Palm Beach, Florida, and they just had a club friendly with Colorado Rapids where we beat them 4-1. And the Olympics for the 2028 season actually just announced that Columbus will be one of the host cities for the upcoming football matches. Scott's Miracle Grow Field will be one of the venues for this tournament, but for the time of the Olympics, it will simply be called Columbus Stadium. And for our last piece of news coming over from Crew Rhino, Nehriman Akhundzadeh will be one of our under 22 initiative signings. He's a 21-year-old attacker coming from Azerbaijan, and he already has 35 pro goals in his career and 13 caps for Azerbaijan. And that's it with the Columbus Crew news. Let's get into the interviews.
All right, guys, welcome back to episode 3 of our interviews across the Eastern Conference. Today we got Tyler from Big TV NSC. How you doing today, Tyler?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thanks for joining us. To give our fans a quick little recap on Nashville SC, they finished their season on 54 points, 6th place, right above us, same points. But they had the unlucky draw of facing Inter Miami immediately in playoffs. Could I get some of your thoughts on that a little quickly here?
I mean, do you know what? I was taking a look at the standings just before I came on and just like revisiting last year, and I was so shocked at the number of games that we actually lost in comparison to you guys, like how those points were all made up. I don't remember losing that many games. But in terms of like the Inter Miami draw, like, as our general manager said at the Members Day lunch, he was like, our friends from South Florida, and we're starting to get a definite rivalry between Nashville SC and Inter Miami that is felt not just on a fan level, but all the way through the club, right to the top.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys have played each other a lot in competitions, and of course the regular season games have been super intense when you guys have had gone against each other. But of course, MLS just isn't about Inter Miami only. There is 14 other teams in the East. So let's talk some Nashville. Going into the 2026 season, how would you describe the overall mood for Nashville SC, getting a playoff spot last year with high hopes for the next?
I think there's a massive sense of optimism. I think there may be a slight overestimation on what we should achieve. I think there is actually an expectation that we're going to go toe-to-toe with some of the very, very best in the conference this year, and we should be looking at those very top spots. Like, I think there is a general mood of optimism. I think in terms of what we've done in the window, it's been close to possibly perfect if you look at what we've actually done. And so I do think, I know I've seen a few of your other Eastern Conference reviews and people pretty downhearted and downcast, but I think we've got an optimistic fan base right now who are happy and expecting the club to go on and do more this year.
Yeah. Could you also remind some of our crew fans who might not know of the big player outs and ins with Nashville from this window?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, our window started by a few of our bigger players unexpectedly being released, but then also simultaneously then being brought back. So probably the biggest loss was Zimmerman. Zimmerman's the man that you'd expect to, he's been with Nashville for almost all the way through, and seeing him go was quite a big loss for a lot of fans. I think actually in terms of the system and everything, that was the move. Like, he had to go.
Yeah, his time was kind of reaching an end. He had
Exactly.
an amazing run with Nashville, though. He's going to be remembered by the club, but yeah, that a player like
Exactly.
him should be leaving at that stage.
Exactly. I think the only thing that people were disheartened by was the fact that there wasn't any transfer fee for that. That he just
Mhm.
left on a free. Like really, we
Yeah.
didn't really get much back for that. Then we had a few players like Brugman, of course, ex MVP. He leaves, and arguably could have brought more to the roster still this year, but I don't think he ever really performed last year. And then we had a couple of veterans like Joe Willis head out, and Brian Acosta head out, but then they came back. So that was just a real case of dumping their high contracts and being told you're going to come back, be part of our family, be part of this roster, but you're not really going to be starting. I think is really what we've said there.
Yeah.
Um,
So do you think they
and
were
then some.
additions for more depth then? Because I was going to ask about Joe Willis and Brian Acosta. Do you feel like they're going to be more depth pieces with Nashville being in almost all competitions this year?
I think they're almost definitely there for experience. I think the one
Okay.
thing that we've done in this window really well is completely re-energize the roster. There's times when I felt like against that Inter Miami side was aging a lot last year. I think what they've done in the window has changed a lot of things, and maybe what their weaknesses were are not going to be the same this year. But there are times when, if I think we'd had a bit more energy, particularly later on in the season, we could have done something good there. Um, but then, talking of energy, we lost Jacob Schaffelberg. He's gone over to LAFC. Again,
Yeah.
I don't mind that transfer. I think he made sense under the old system, under the old manager. At the minute, he was just not getting the game time. And in this kind of system, it's more possession based. He needs to be part of the build up play as well as the attacking final third. He is honestly quite frustrating to watch.
Really? Okay. As an opposing fan, I always was a little scared of Schaffelberg. I mean, he always felt like the danger man when we were playing them. But that's also because for some reason when Crew plays Nashville, Mukhtar never has shown up. So
Yeah.
um, it always felt more Schaffelberg was scary, and I thought that transfer really surprised me this window.
I think that's the view if you're not watching the club regularly and you don't sort of
Yeah.
know the identity of the build up of the squad and how it's designed to play. I think if you actually watch the danger man who looks like he's dangerous, who's going to do something, Schaffelberg always looked like it. But if you sit in this Geodis Park every week and you watch him come on and you watch him stumble as he goes to strike the ball in the penalty area every week, and you watch him fall over just as he was meant to take the most critical touch, and you watch his crosses go behind the net, you kind of get the understanding that he's a lot like, for instance, like an Adama Traore in the Premier League, someone who looks big, strong, dangerous, and in the right system can look lethal and do almost everything. But his final third, the last touch, his last bit of composure has always just been a little bit lacking.
Yeah. Just
And I
slightly
think
off.
if you're not on the counter and you haven't got that transition play going on, he's a little bit of a weakness, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. So with all those outs, we were talking about this before we started this episode, but do you feel that the club has done enough to kind of address its biggest needs in this offseason, or is there something a bit more that you think they should be looking for?
I think we're a sort of 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, maybe in terms of the off-season moves. The one thing I would love to see is just a little bit more experience in midfield with
Mhm.
energy, someone that's sort of in their prime. We've got players that are sort of either side of that prime window of that 27, 28, 29. Um, and we're just lacking a sort of pivot. We've got Eddie Tagseth and we've got Patrick Yazbek. Both are great players in different ways, and they kind of complement each other to some extent. But
Mhm.
each of them has a weakness that the other doesn't fully fulfill. And because we play with a pivot of a two in the middle of the midfield, they're often left exposed and often doing too much work. And so we need a player that's got a little bit of a cooler head. And sometimes Acosta can come in and be that. But I do think it would have been great to have a sort of real midfield player that can do everything, that does almost everything, can hold the ball, can allow the team to transition into the next stage of play, can play some lovely deep balls and some spray some passes.
Mhm.
But then I think if you're looking at MLS, how many players can do all of those things is quite rare. It's a
Yeah,
very rare profile.
that's not something you get common in MLS right now, but hopefully we'll see more of that in the future. Um, Moving on though, do you feel like Nashville currently has a identity on the field?
Definitely, definitely.
Definitely. And do you
Uh,
feel confident in that identity as well?
Yeah, I think it's very in keeping with modern world football for sure. Like it's not just it's it's how some of the biggest teams in the world are playing right now, and that's sort of the philosophy that BJ Callahan has brought to the club.
Yeah.
I think you saw in the first half a season that he got glimpses of it, but just players that couldn't play the system, didn't understand the system, didn't really know how to work in it, and needed an off season to sort of get reset and go again. I think you saw last season the effect of having a good off season and the momentum that was built. Of course, Nashville finished right around the bottom the season before last, so
Mhm.
you saw the change in that. And I mean, Nashville is a possession-based team now. It's a control-based team. As much as we have players that are amazing on the transition and the counter in Surridge, Mukhtar, those opportunities are rare. It's more about building the team, moving, progressing as a whole unit, and playing in a very possession-based style. And it's certainly the way that we're playing.
Yeah. And with that play style, do you feel that there's any specific player or players that are going to have like kind of the most pressure having to adapt to this style this year, or kind of like step out as that one man?
I think there are a few players that are under more pressure than you. They are under pressure, but it's because who they're replacing rather than anything to do with the style.
Yeah.
When we talked to, again, that the members, the season ticket holders lunch and stuff, when Mike Jacobs came on, he was talking a lot about Moneyball being the sort of system that Nashville really recruits. And it is kind of a stats based, who's going to fit our system, who's going to do the job, and who's a little bit underrated. I think you'll see that players like Will Edsey, who's come in as our centre back, he's our Zimmerman replacement basically.
Mm.
He's going to be under a little bit of pressure just because he's replacing Zimmerman, but I think he's going to be fine. I think Espinoza comes with the expectation and the weight of expectation of being Espinoza and having done so much great work over the last few seasons. Like he's right up there in terms of MLS history, and players that have performed consistently and done well in terms of stats. But I think the player who might actually be under the most pressure this year is Sam Surridge. I
Mhm.
think the fact that he's done so well last year might put him under so much more pressure this year. There have been a few talks about, is he going to go to the Premier League? Is he not going to do that? And I think he might be the one player that is under more pressure. But hopefully, having Espinoza around, Mukhtar, they've already combined in pre-season on a game against Colorado Rapids. So we've seen them combine already and take some of that pressure off with Espinoza getting the ball in for Hani and stuff like that. So hopefully between the three of them, they're going to be able to spread that pressure, because we
Yeah.
have had Hani and Sam scoring 50 goals a season and the rest of the team doing almost nothing
Yeah,
other
yeah,
than
yeah.
what they're meant to.
Yeah, that's gonna be a scary front three though if you can get that full combination working though. I mean, Surge and Mukhtar alone are already horrifying to have on that
Yeah,
roster.
exactly.
Um, a very like recent addition right now is CONCACAF Champions Cup. As of this recording, the first game of the tournament is playing right now. And Nashville plays in a few weeks, I think, but before the MLS
Yes.
season starts.
Yeah.
So how important do you feel that is to kind of the fans and maybe even the whole Nashville staff right now?
I think it's big. At the minute, I struggle a little bit with the mentality, because at the minute it's basically it's a dangerous game we're playing right now. I think mentally we're going, oh, Atletico Ottawa, it'll be fine. And then Inter Miami, right, we've got to be good for the Inter Miami game. And I think
Yeah.
honestly it's going to be a test, having not had. We didn't get our game against Birmingham Legion this weekend because of the snowstorm and the Arctic storm that's been here in
Yeah.
Nashville. I mean, it's just devastated the area in some ways. Um, so the team didn't go down to Alabama and play Birmingham and get that first game under their belts. They're out back in Florida now, I believe. So they're looking to get another game, at least one, but you want to get two or three really, because these guys haven't had enough game time. And then we're going to have to go up to Canada. You know, at this time of year, and it's early, it's snowy. I think it's a risk, and I think honestly this first leg could be pretty dangerous, just in terms of fitness, injuries, players actually having enough time in their legs, actually
Yeah,
being
yeah.
ready for games.
It
And
it
then we've got to face them at Geddes Park 2 weeks later with a
yeah.
MLS game in.
Yeah, it's kind of like a preseason game having to start Champions Cup. Luckily, you don't have one of the bad draws or anything. You're not having to play like a Tigres or something right off the bat.
Yeah,
But yeah, you still could. It's still preseason. You could still mess up and go into Ottawa with high expectations that they're just going to blow it out, and then the players just decide, oh, to take it a bit easy, and something happens. You never know.
it's one of those
Oh,
things that you see a lot in other parts of the world, particularly if you go and play a Scandinavian team in a European competition or something,
oh yeah,
and you'll see the odd draws because they're playing on, 3G pitches, and it's snowy and it's really harsh temperatures, and you see a big team go and lose to someone because they know their environment better. I just
yeah,
feel like it has a touch of that about it. I think a lot of Nashville fans are maybe underrating that aspect of it, and they're just so focused on, oh, we've got to beat Inter Miami in the next round, and I think we've not got that far yet. We need to
yeah,
focus on
yeah.
this
Focus
first.
on the game first, because yeah, we've seen those upsets many, many times, especially when a team is going somewhere as far north like that. It's the conditions are just completely different, and
Yeah,
Nashville is not commonly playing a Vancouver even, so you're not getting those
no,
games up in the north where you're prepared for this. This could be a new experience that might end poorly. You never know.
exactly. The only saving grace is we've got a lot of players who've come from Norway. We've got this sort of Norwegian academy scout system going on where we bring out, we at least bring one every season basically from Norway or Scandinavia. So hoping that those guys bring all the hats and the gloves for everybody else, and we can make it work.
Yeah. All right. And then to kind of start wrapping us up here, what do you feel are the realistic expectations for Nashville in the Eastern Conference this year?
I want to be in the top half of the playoffs this season. I think that's
Top
realistic.
half of the playoffs. Okay.
I think so. I think you know, that could make a big difference in terms of momentum, getting ahead. I could see us doing a third, fourth, maybe.
All right. I like hearing that. For a little bit of insight of all the other teams we've talked to so far in episodes 1 and episodes 2, a good majority of them have said that they're going to be getting into a playoff spot this year. So either we're just about to have a really competitive East, or somebody is not telling the truth about how their team is going to perform. But
I think there's some over optimism there from some of the others that I've sensed. I think
yes,
this is a build in one direction for Nashville, and I'm skeptical when I need to be, and I think this is actually the case. The way that we are building, the way the squad has been built, is very
mm,
intentional, and in a way that I've seen some of the transfer moves of other teams and thought, I think they're just trying to do whatever they can. This feels
yeah,
very targeted from Nashville.
gotcha. And then outside of that, then so we're going to aim for a top half position in the East. Any other silverware you think Nashville will be competing for, or be maybe even reaching this year outside of just the main MLS tournament?
I don't. I think I think we're on year 2 of a 3 or 4 year plan. I think obviously getting the Open Cup last year was great.
Yes,
Um,
thank you for beating Austin. All
you're,
our crew fans were with you guys that game.
yeah, you are very welcome. Away from home as well.
Yeah,
That's the thing. But yeah, delighted with that. That was a big thing, even for Tennessee. Like no team in Tennessee has ever won a professional cup of any kind, whether it's the Predators, the
really.
Titans. Yeah, no team. So
Yeah, I believe
yeah,
that from the Titans, but I didn't know that at all.
yeah, not even the Preds. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's yeah. Historically, it's a big moment for Tennessee in general.
Hmm,
So I think I wouldn't say realistically we're going to win any of them. I think it's a case of taking another step towards winning um, within 2 or 3 years.
awesome. I'm excited to see that Nashville plan then, because they're always competing with us. Always good to see a new team kind of top the East as well. Um, so best of luck with you guys. If you want to give a quick shout out to all of your socials before we log out here, go right on ahead.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pretty sure on all of my handles it's at Big TV NSC, or if it's not with the NSC, it's at Big TV. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok are the ones that I'm mostly working with right now. And yeah, looking forward to the new season. We're going to get some
Yep.
more fan engagement with different fans. The idea is to really open it up and have more of an AFTV style platform with lots of fan engagement, some specific shows, some biased MLS shows, and different things that will cover us all the way through this season.
All right. Thanks for joining us one more time, and on to the next team.
You're very welcome.
All right, welcome back to our Eastern Conference preview series. Today we have Atlanta United Fan TV. With them, we got AJ. How you doing, AJ?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely. Um, let's go right into it. So last year, you guys finished what, like 14th? Is that right?
Second from bottom. Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
second from bottom. That really wasn't. I mean, at least for us, some of us even had you guys finishing second, third in the East at the beginning of the year. Um, how did that season feel to you in terms of where your expectations were at the beginning of the year to where you guys ended?
You guys came here, had me come here to really open up some wounds. Okay, cool. Yeah, so yeah, it was expectations were sky high. Pundits were wrong, we were all wrong.
Hmm.
I mean, players were wrong, coach was definitely wrong. So yeah, it was the hype very high. The malaise that happened during the middle of the season because we just were not accumulating points. It just really seemed dire. And by the end of it, the apathy had already set in for a lot of the fan base. So, yes, it was one of the worst experiences, fandom wise, that I have experienced.
Yeah. Um, so you guys, who are your DPS right now? You had Almiron, you had Marinchuk, and who's the third one?
Yeah, Emmanuel Lat.
Latte Lath. Oh yeah, he definitely had a underperformance this past year. Are you guys expecting more from him this year, or what's the feeling in the off season for the Atlanta fans?
Yeah, I mean, anything is up. I mean, it's yeah,
Hmm.
6 goals from a 20, maybe what, 25, 22 million, probably guaranteed as well. Anyway,
Hmm.
as a fee for a striker, 6 goals is not great. That return, I don't. I'm not an Asian that's good at math, but it's bad. And so
Yeah.
you know, as far as that goes, yes, everything is an upward trajectory from what happened last season.
Hmm.
Now there are some possible reasons why that happened, as far as that, but it's as far as a shortened preseason, have been playing for
Hmm.
18 months straight. So, a player that was definitely fatigued and injured and never really got a proper preseason to be able to acclimate with the club. So, yeah, it becomes a confluence of the perfect uh, season, really,
Yeah.
if I can
Yeah.
cuss.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So I guess with that, so you guys have Tata Martino coming back as well. Um. And of course, Dalla didn't really do what you guys were expecting from him. Does having Martino back feel like trying to go back to what worked, or does it feel like it's still a progression, or does
Mm.
or do you think you just think that the ownership is just thinking like, oh, this is what worked for us before, let's just go back?
I mean, it's all of the above, really. I mean,
Yeah,
is it nostalgia FC right now? Yes, it is.
yeah,
And when Miggy came back, it was definitely you got the feel goods, but he didn't really perform up to his standards either in MLS anyway.
hmm,
Obviously, at Newcastle, it was a mixed bag. He had a decent season one time, and then kind of the rest of them, it was a little bit more where he was left wanting. But ultimately, he was good enough for MLS, and
hmm,
last season not that great. Hopefully, Tata Martino, who they know each other very, very well, not only from their time together, but they've stayed in touch. Their families have been close.
hmm,
In the meantime, they've even reconvened in Atlanta at times, uh, even when they weren't part of Atlanta United. I think it was something that, yes, it's a nostalgia trip. He is going to be able to be helpful to us, though, because as far as MLS managers go, there's probably not many better as far as, the trophies that he's been able to accumulate when he's been an MLS coach.
hmm.
And yeah, really the only worry is how long is he going to stay? Because yeah, this is a project for him. He's
Yeah,
not used to projects. He's used to almost the finished product, if not the finished product.
yeah. Okay, so in terms of being a project, what have transfers looked like for Atlanta this offseason?
There's been a lot of outgoings.
Yeah.
We've been shopping in the South American market, as you would expect,
Hmm.
and yes, we've brought in a U22 in Domas Jacob, and also an Elias Baez as well. A couple of defenders that have some versatility and know how to play that Argentinian way. That Newell's old boy familiarity with where Tata Martino, of course, had come from.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there is that aspect that, yes, he is looking for, those ball players, for those kind of feisty defenders that will solidify our defense because last season we were just as leaky as they come. And yeah, it just became game state after game state where
Hmm.
we concede one goal, we would concede a second one, maybe even a third one, and then sometimes even a fourth one.
Or a
Pretty
fifth
much
one when you
in
play Columbus.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think yeah, you're just coming you just made me come on to like just really just put in the
just
twist the
just
knife.
twist the knife in. Yeah. So Guzan retired.
Yes.
I mean, like for Columbus, we just had Nagby retire. Um,
Mhm.
both those guys have been big for their clubs over the past few years.
And he
Um,
was big for us too. Nagby.
yeah, I mean Nagby, yeah, and I honestly, I'm not sure if you guys have really replaced him since he left.
We have
Um,
not. That
yeah,
has been the thing. Yeah, a midfielder that can control proceedings and yeah, I mean, he possibly, if not, I think personally, I think
hmm.
he's the best MLS player ever. And
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah.
I
He's
mean, it's
easily
just
on that Mount Rushmore for me. Yeah.
exactly. So, yeah,
Um,
a
but
masterpiece.
losing Guzan, what's the goalkeeper situation like for Atlanta?
Yeah, well, Lucas Hoyos has come over from Newell's Old Boys as well,
Hmm.
another Argentinian, and yeah, more of a ball playing type, a guy that's maybe, well, at 37 years old, he's definitely
Okay,
not
he's
one for the
older.
future. But yeah, Jaden Hibbert took a lot of minutes away from Braguzan last season.
Hmm.
I think it was needed. It was someone that could do what we needed him to as far as shot stopping, as far as control in the box. It started to become a thing where, yeah, Braguzan really was showing his age, unfortunately. Really couldn't get down as quickly as years past.
Yeah.
And so, there are a lot of fans that are wanting Hibbert to be that guy, but it seems like the competition for places, Lucas Hoyos, with his ability to pretty much help the defense with building out from the back. That's something that Tata Martino really, really wants, and to be able to pretty much, kind of with that Barca way to, with possession, you are essentially staving off, having to play massive amounts of defense if you are able
Hmm.
to possess the ball. So that's really more, I think, where in line that he wants to, play as a playing style.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I also saw when I was trying to do some research before getting you on here.
Mhm,
Um, Brooks Lennon was let go.
mhm. Yes.
Um, I feel like he has a lot of mixed feelings with a lot of different fans. What's the
Mm.
feeling with Atlanta fans with him leaving the club?
Yeah, I mean, he was a wonderful servant
Hmm.
for the club. He seemed, by all accounts, a great guy, a guy that could run his socks off, and
Yeah.
uh, at times, with the right type of runners and players ahead of him, he was able to get double digits in assists from right back. The issue was it became really one note from him.
Gotcha.
It was basically floated cross to the back post, and really it seemed a lot of the time blind crosses to the back post more so. And
I gotcha.
uh, yeah, left a lot wanting defensively. So it was someone that a lot of fans actually were really kind of, I think he was mercifully almost let go.
Yeah.
It was just
They're
it became
ready
too
for a
much.
change. Yeah.
Exactly. He was almost emblematic of the issues that we've had pretty much where we
Hmm.
were mediocre or worse for half a decade. And,
Yeah.
it kind of coincided a little bit, unfortunately, with him, uh, coincidentally.
I got you. Yeah. And then of course we Columbus made a trade for one your backup
Mhm.
striker. How do you pronounce his name? Is it
Yeah, Jamal Tiare.
Tiare? Okay.
Mhm.
What can you tell Columbus fans about this guy?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is an efficient striker. He can be a little injury prone at times, but yeah, he definitely can run in behind. He's got that height to be able to win some headers in the box as well. Has some of those street smarts evident in that kind of sneak attack goal that he had.
Yeah.
That
Last
definitely
minute
probably
winner.
made the
Yeah.
rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's someone that can do the job for a backup striker. He makes
Mm,
quite a bit. I don't know if he's going to be on the same salary as he was here,
yeah.
but that's likely why we didn't get a massive amount of GAM for him. But still, I think you'll appreciate his work rate. You'll appreciate, he's kind of a quiet presence, so you won't really, I think, have any massive issues as far as outside of the pitch. But yeah, just if he stays on the pitch, he can be someone that can be an efficient goal scorer for you guys. And I think a lot of fans actually are missing that. We're not missing, but they are kind of saddened that he is
Yeah.
going. But ultimately, I think we needed the flexibility to really make some of the moves that we really needed to this offseason to be better. And spending $730,000 in MLS salary
It's a
probably
big
wasn't the
chunk.
most prudent thing.
Yeah, especially for a backup. Yeah.
Exactly.
Um. Yeah. So okay. So you guys, what is the off season looking like right now? Are they training in Atlanta? Are they? Where are they at?
Yeah, we went to Miami for a little bit
Hmm.
earlier on. Luckily, probably for them, because it's been in the teens at times in
Yeah.
Atlanta. So it's yeah. But now, yeah, they're back here in kind of the suburbs, and yeah, it's about 20 something odd degrees at times as well. So yeah, yeah, I think as far as um, the training here, and then they are doing a preseason in Texas,
Okay, they're going to
which is
Texas.
pretty much
Okay.
yeah where they're going this weekend to play the Houston Dynamo, to play Red Bulls, and to
Hmm.
play FC Dallas in a little kind of Texas tournament.
Okay. Um. Have you heard much from Tata Martino about the off season and like what
Mm,
he is expecting from the roster?
mm,
How he feels being back in Atlanta?
mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he has mentioned that he feels like it's a good roster. It's just that they underperformed,
Yeah.
and that he kind of, I don't know what the descriptor would be, but basically he said that the team last year gave up too early,
Okay.
and very interesting comments as far as
Hmm.
that regard. But yeah, as far as him coming back, I mean, he's definitely excited to be at a place that he's familiar with, and with a sporting director that he likes working with in Chris
Hmm.
Henderson.
Yeah.
And so, definitely they have a synergy. They, of course, at Inter Miami, uh, not only with, Messi and the Barca boys, but,
Yeah.
the rest of those players that they were able to bring in to fill out the roster. They obviously did a lot of good work to, make that a very talented squad. So, yeah, I think he has, I think, shown some faith in some of the DPs as well, and that he thinks that some of these players, I think, are able to be part of the future,
Hmm.
but it still is, unfortunately, that we might be, yeah, probably 2 or 3 windows probably from actually being a contender, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
I just start to wonder if we're wasting Tata Martino, because he doesn't really like to stay at places too long.
Yeah. He
So
doesn't stick around a whole lot. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So I guess with Tata Martino, enjoying working with Henderson, in terms of the fans, what's the feeling around the fan base in terms of like trusting Henderson, trusting Arthur Blank, like what in terms of the front office? What's the
Yeah.
feeling?
Yeah. I mean, it's as far as the feeling. Fans are a little snake bit, maybe a lot of snake bit actually, because yeah, last season there was a lot of hype before the season started. That first
Hmm.
game, went pretty decently. There were a good number of goals, but yeah, the PTSD is strong, and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I
we
feel it.
haven't. Yeah, we haven't been able to do much as far as our DPS because essentially we are hamstrung by it. And so, they underperformed. We couldn't move them. That was part of probably why Ronnie Diley, even though he may not have been entirely at fault, it's just from an optics standpoint, you can't keep the coach that pretty much nearly won the wooden spoon, and then
Hmm.
you, on the other hand, can't move your DPs. It just became a thing where, okay, well, something's got to give. Unfortunately, usually it's always the head coach. And as far as Arthur Blank, he did come out and say a lot of good things that kind of uh, maybe in a way showed some awareness that he
Hmm.
was like, okay, well, Ronnie Dyler clearly wasn't the man for the job, but it's up to us to figure it out and figure it out immediately. And so yeah, it seems like he, definitely was part of that kind of brain trust of wanting to make sure that the fans were not going to experience the same thing 2 seasons in a row in terms of this bad of a season. But
Hmm.
yeah, as far as the bringing back Tata Martino, it seems like yes, a little bit of kind of what he's doing with the Falcons a little bit as well. It's just you are hiring people that are familiar faces that are the feel good vibes for fans, so that's
Yeah.
okay. You know they hopefully can come back around because well, we used to have a massive season ticket waiting list, but now that's gone. There's
Oh
the
yeah.
people that yeah are on that waiting list. Yeah, it just pretty much just went into to to nothing, and it just become a thing where a lot of the fans have dropped off from being season ticket holders, and a lot of the founding members have left as well. And yeah, it's become a thing where tickets are extremely easy to get
Oh
on
wow.
match day. And yeah, basically no value from reselling your ticket. You pretty much have to you sometimes at times last season couldn't even give them away.
Wow. That's a huge 180 from the first few years.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess with that, I was gonna ask what the the feeling is in the stadium, but I guess it's going downhill. It sounds like. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, it's at times it's just that. It's like uh the good moments we're still cheering
yeah.
very loudly. We're still as rah-rah as we can, but we've seen this movie before too many times,
Hmm.
unfortunately, and the squad just seems like when they're on the pitch, it's almost like they're just giving up and giving up inside the game. And when that is the case, I mean, it's extremely hard to kind of fake excitement
Hmm.
if you've already kind of, you know, just gone through it multiple times a season, and you just lose a little bit of that gumption to believe that they can either come back from a goal deficit or even score sometimes. We were shut out or basically could not put a shot on frame sometimes for multiple games. So
Yeah,
it at home, you just cannot do that.
yeah. No, definitely not. Yeah, it. We had an issue with that this past year in terms of our scoring output just tanked. From I mean, we lost Cucho.
Exactly.
We
Yeah.
lost Christian Ramirez. Like, yeah, we there. That is something I'm hoping this team figures out this year.
Right.
But with you guys, who like who are you guys looking to turn this around on the field? Like, who's the main man for Atlanta?
Mm. I mean, it's the guy who became captain in Braguzan Steed, Miggy. He is the
Hmm.
guy that's yeah,
Oh, he's the captain now.
you know, he's the captain, and
Okay.
so as far as that goes, he knows the team the best as far as of all the players in that sense, and
Hmm.
has tasted success with an MLS Cup. So he is that man to lead them spiritually, and as far as on the pitch, that's the issue is that he hasn't necessarily been pulling up trees as well, and he's is on the wrong side of 30. So
Hmm.
hopefully he can have a bounce back season. I mean, it really is on the DPs to pretty much really perform what
Yeah.
their transfer fees have been, and all of them with nearly double digit transfer fees. They need to start being able to learn each other's tendencies, know how to play with each other, and really start putting in goals and produce. But as well, our defense. Yeah, that's been part of the problem as well as aforementioned is that we
Hmm.
need to be able to stop teams from scoring so that, the game state doesn't happen where, we're just always coming from behind
Yeah.
or, having to fight for every single bit of possession because, or, maybe not even that at that point. It's just having meaningless possession because we can't break down a deep lying block because they've scored and they don't care to come
Hmm.
out anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an issue. You you mentioned Miggy, and we talked about Latte Lath. Is there anyone last year or any aspect of the team that you think was a positive? Because it seems like a lot of what what happened this past year was not great.
Yeah, I
But is there
mean,
something that you think you
yeah.
can build on from
Yeah,
last
I mean,
year?
a lot had to go wrong for us to finish that far off from
Yeah.
projections, but yeah, I mean, Jay Fortune, a midfielder, he
Hmm.
unfortunately did get injured, but he was arguably our best player in midfield. Kind of played out of position at times by Dyla, but a player that showed a lot of what we needed in midfield. And so, someone that is coming back from injury, I think will
Hmm.
be a big part of that as well. And I mean, Schleich, who unfortunately has been sold, but that was somebody that, from a defensive midfielder standpoint, was able to, do a number of the things that we needed, break up play and, keep things ticking. But,
Yeah.
ultimately, yeah, still with him, he had a little bit of an error in him a game, loose
Hmm.
pass here and there sometimes unfortunately around the D and
Yeah. Not the greatest
basically that
spot to lose
was
the ball.
no and especially if you lose it to Lionel Messi
Yeah.
of all
Hmm.
people, really not the best thing to
Maybe
happen,
the
but
worst. Yeah.
yeah, probably the worst. And so yeah, as far as that, I'm trying to really pull for. I mean, Jaden Hibbert,
Hmm.
asserting himself, I think is maybe the other one. But yeah, it was still not great results. But at least from savable shots, that
Yeah.
standpoint, we were at least getting those. So that was a positive. So yeah.
Okay. All right. I got two more things for you, and then I'll wrap this up. Where are you predicting personally Atlanta's finishing in the East this year?
Ooh, I think we still need a defensive midfielder, and until we get that, and maybe another winger.
Hmm.
It's an incomplete roster, so I can't really say that I have full confidence in us being able to be back into a playoff spot. It's a
Okay.
little bit weird to say that a Tata Martino led team is going to be out of a playoff spot, but I think we just miss it because if the roster stays as it is, I'm not sure. So, I'm going to err on the side of it not happening just because there's a lot of unknowns. And I
Hmm.
don't know if I mean, I hope he does. I think he does have the ability to coach this team to be a better performing club,
Yeah.
but there's just I mean, largely it's still a lot of the same starters from last season, even though some of them came in the last transfer or the summer transfer window. And
Yeah.
so, okay, it's not the same players as the start of the season when we were absolutely horrid. But yeah, it still was. We weren't much better in the second half either.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, I if you're not expecting to make the playoffs, is there what would be a positive season, even if you don't make the playoffs? Like, what would make Atlanta
Mm,
supporters feel like positive about the future?
mm.
Like, what would do that for you?
It's tough. I think we probably at this point it's a low bar. We
Yeah.
want competent football.
Yep.
We want the players to. I I think it's this. We probably want and need Emmanuel Latulat to score double digits.
Yep.
Uh, and I don't think that's asking for much from a
No.
striker that costs 20 plus million.
I think you
But
probably expect someone at that price to go closer to 20. And
exactly. And he was
yeah.
on that pace before he just fell completely off a cliff. But
Yep.
uh, it was, I think, something that's, yeah, I think we want to see where we can control proceedings. We can,
Hmm.
you know, be a little bit more of the team that is the protagonist that, you know, doesn't get game stated constantly. And,
Yeah.
you know, I think in return, I think the fans will feel a lot more confident in the team, will have a lot more fun, and
Hmm.
that energy return in the stadium will be just tremendously better. And ultimately, I want to see us be able to get more than 5 or 6 points from away games
That's
because we
fair.
have been absolutely dire
Yeah.
from our away games for half a decade, and it's just,
Hmm.
yeah, we want to be able to enjoy one of the away days, or even just
Yeah.
when they're not playing at home, like, hey, let's have a watch party, let's enjoy the watch party.
Yes. Let's leave with like a smile on our face and not just
Exactly.
yeah. I get you. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Well. Thank you for coming on today. Um.
Absolutely.
If
Pleasure.
there if people want to find more stuff from Atlanta United Fan TV, where can they find you?
Yeah, well, we're on every social media platform, and you can find us at Atlanta United Fan TV on Instagram, or ATL UTD Fan TV at most other places, especially on YouTube as well. So, yep, check us out if you want to have a second team that's outside of Columbus Crew.
All right. All right. Well, that will end this segment. We'll be on to New York next.
What's up, guys? This is For the Crew podcast. This is Nate, and I have Matt with me, and we have two guys from Soccer View Radio who cover NYCFC and Red Bulls over in Harrison, New Jersey. Um, how about you guys introduce yourselves, and we'll talk about the upcoming season.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having us on. My name is Ronnie. I'm here as well. We're called Soccer View Radio, based out of New York, covering NYCFC and the Red Bulls, covering MLS as a whole as well, keeping an eye on headlines. Usually have a guest on with us every episode. So yeah, appreciate you guys having us on, helping us, grow the league and get ready for the 2026 season.
Yeah, my name is Voss. I am the red side of Soccer View Radio. I've been a fan of the team since the Metro Stars days. I've been both in the stands as well as on the field as a photographer, and now as part of the media and journalist group that does print media. And yeah, it's been a very fun journey having been a part of Soccer View Radio, being one of the founders of it, and being able to just connect with all the different walks of MLS life, whether it's Nashville, Charlotte, LA, Seattle. Uh, very, very fun times doing what we're doing over here.
Solid. Um. So I'm just gonna get right into the questions here. So you guys finished very different last season. Uh, New York finished. New York City finished what, fifth place? Is that correct?
I'd say we finished fourth because we got to the Eastern Conference Final
Yeah, he'll give it to you.
versus Inter Miami.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we were pretty close. We got pretty close.
yeah. But then the Red Bulls, you guys had a record of making the playoffs for a while. And how long was it since the last time you guys didn't make the playoffs?
Ooh, so it was a 16-year playoff run, which actually
Wow.
was the longest running playoff streak in all of American sports at the time. So it was quite the run. And the last time we missed the playoffs was 2009, which coincidentally was the second worst season in club history. First was 1999. So we're
And
kind of,
right after
uh,
making the
we're
finals
cursed
the
with
year
like the
before.
nine.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. It happened in the 08-09 season, yeah. So 07-08 season, the Red Bulls much like this past iteration when they made MLS Cup final,
Hmm.
ended up finding themselves out of the playoffs the next year. So you think it's something to build on, but
Yeah.
it's funny how things work in MLS sometimes.
Yeah, that happened to us with the 2020 season. We won MLS Cup, and then very next season didn't even make the playoffs. And yeah, so it is interesting with MLS to see how teams, like, you think they're going on an upward trajectory, and then they just drop again. And there's not a whole lot of teams that keep a dynasty for more than 3 or 4 seasons before they drop again. So even, I mean, making 16 playoff appearances in a row is ridiculous. But with
Look,
that, like, oh,
one
go
of the
ahead.
re- one, I'm sorry to cut you off. One of the
Yeah.
seasons that they made the playoffs, they were only in the playoffs for 90 seconds of the season when John Tolkien ended up scoring a penalty against Nashville. So we
Yeah,
got very close to not making it a few times,
that's
not gonna
fair.
lie.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. What's the feelings of the fan base right now in terms of this offseason? I mean, after not making playoffs for the first time in 16 years.
Honestly, it's
Mhm.
been very proactive from Julian de Guzman's side, and you can even say from replacing the head coach and Sandro Schwartz with Michael Bradley, who, in my opinion, is a little green for the job, but it's a growing pains kind of season. You know, it's going to have to be a big shift from all the departures that the team made with guys like Sean Nealis, who've been stalwarts and captains of the team,
Mhm.
Peter Stroud and Daniel Edelman, who were looked at as like pillars to build on if you looked at the 2024 season, and Edelman having captained the side a few times. Carlos Cornell, who was our goalkeeper when we made that run, making 3 penalty kick saves against the Crew in a row. You know, like Carlos Coronel is a guy who's etched his name into the Red Bulls history. So big departures, and a lot of people were questioning whether the Red Bulls would just sit on their hands and do nothing like they have done for a majority of the past few seasons. But I myself have been, and I think I could speak for the fan base, pleasantly surprised with how good business uh, Julian de Guzman's been able to make of both the outgoing players as well as the incoming ones. And I think up until the Noah Isle departure, which is very out of the blue,
Mhm.
the team was looking, I want to say, better than the 43 points that they won last season. So I think just overall with the guys like Justin Che, uh, uh, Kate Cowell, and even Jorge Rubalcaba, these are guys who are actually they have the green cards because Jorge was uh, born in California, just like Kate Cowell, Justin Che is a kid from Texas. So they've
Mhm.
been really good in terms of saving these international spots for maybe some good depth that they could build on, but also bringing in maybe some guys like Robert Voltaire from Sporting KC, who a lot of people only tend to watch like their respective markets. I'm kind of an MLS sicko, so I did
I,
watch a
I
good amount of
I'm
SKC,
the
and
same way.
I did like what I saw from Voltaire. And
Hmm.
also, I know Carlos Coronel has been, like I said, a stalwart, but Ethan Horvath has had his moments with the U.S. national team, and if he's on that caliber of goalkeeper, you don't got to look too far when you look at across the pond to see who's starting for the U.S. national team. So it should be not of similar like to like quality, but if you're competing for a top three spot within the national goalkeeping ranks for the U.S., I think you should be pretty good. So I
Hmm.
think outside of Gerhard Struber, who's our former coach, taking Noah Heil from underneath our noses, uh, I'm feeling pretty good.
Solid. Um, with the Red Bulls, like I'm trying to think how to say this. So you guys have with Michael Bradley. You said you kind of feel like he's a little green. Um,
Yeah,
but
I have to say,
he won Next Pro this past year, right? They Red Bull 2 won the league.
yes, yeah,
Um,
he did. He won
Yeah, they
MLS
ran
next.
through it.
yeah.
But look, he had to come back
Hmm.
from being down at least one or two goals in both the final and the conference final.
Hmm.
So again, I don't think this is a team that Michael Bradley could say he built from the ground up. That was all Ibrahim Sakage's work, who's
Okay.
been the head coach for a very long time, who got promoted to be an assistant with the first team. But and in my opinion, he should have gotten the first team job as he's been both a player, assistant coach, head coach. Like he's done it all for Red Bull, and he has a very good relationship with the team out in Salzburg, who he joined the New
Hmm.
York club from. So honestly, it's hard to call, right now
Yeah.
because it's like, yeah, he got them to the final and he won it, and the guys believe in him and they trust him, but MLS Next Pro isn't MLS.
It's a
That's a
different level.
huge
Yeah.
jump in
Yeah.
quality. So it's something that worries me on that front because, okay, you took a team that was first. The Red Bulls were not a first place team. We were a team outside the playoffs. Like you got a lot of work to do, Mr.
Hmm.
Bradley. And I know he comes from a big coaching family.
Yep.
He's been a leader on the pitch, but it's still a big question mark as to whether or not it's a huge improvement over Sandro Schwartz, who, ironically enough, finished 3 points or 2 points better than he did the season before when he made MLS Cup. So
Hmm.
again, it's funny how MLS works sometimes.
Nate can attest to this, but Michael Bradley is a guy that Columbus loves to boo. We whenever he touched the ball, I mean, you know, whenever we come to Columbus, Michael Bradley touches the ball, the whole stadium's booing him. And we've joked about like how we're gonna have to boo for 90 minutes now whenever the Red Bulls come, because Michael Bradley's gonna be right there the whole time. Um, but yeah, Nate, did you have any questions you wanted to ask about City?
About City,
Yeah.
yeah, Ryan, with the upcoming season, um, I'm trying to remember how last year ended for you guys. You have to forgive me there. How did it end
They got to the
for
Eastern Conference
City?
Final.
That's right.
Lost to
Okay.
We
Miami.
got eliminated by Inter Miami.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you
I
know what? We
apologize.
we
Yep.
got taken out by the best team and by the champs. But yeah,
Yeah. There you go.
So going from there, how do you feel about the upcoming season um, after the run that you guys went through in the playoffs? Because I feel like overall, Chicago or not Chicago, Charlotte was one of the more consistent teams. So you had that win against them, and then you played Philadelphia and choked them out of the playoffs. And then you went up against Miami, who was pretty much destined to win last season. So where do you go entering this season? What's the vibe like entering this season?
I think I'll just say I think a lot of fans are optimistic about this team repeating itself and going to the playoffs. It's been a very interesting offseason per se.
Uh-huh.
Most of the offseason was actually quiet up until we got to the new year where they first then announced that Maxi Morales was coming back, 38 years old. But this team does have its main core guys coming back. Obviously, Maxi, Tavon Gray, Thiago Martins, who's a big veteran for us, and of course, one of the main guys, Matt Freeze, who on goal, who he's been so important for us. But then we've also had a few departures. We've had Justin Hack, who was a key guy for us in the back line and in the midfield, depart to the LA Galaxy. So that one was a tough hit for us. Meet Joe Lenich, who I think he was like a fan favorite with a lot of the fans. A lot of fans really liked him. Always would have time to sign, hang out with the fans. He's going to be missed. He's on loan. I believe he went out to Poland. And then we have Talis Magno, who's back from loan. He was out in Corinthians in Brazil, and now that's been one of the big question marks of how will he fit back into this team, if at all. Because at first there were some rumors that NYCFC might not use him, but obviously there's been clips of preseason, in Austin and now in Coachella, and he's been pretty active in training, and you can see some clips of him and in the social medias out there. So that'll be interesting. But I guess to save the best for last, I think our most important guy, Alonso Martinez, our striker, is out for the majority, if not the whole entire season, after getting injured in the playoffs. So, yeah, I will say like fans are optimistic that we do have a core group of guys that should be able to get back into the playoffs. And then, like you guys saw this past season, once you get into the playoffs, it's all about who gets hot at the right time. And I think the momentum is what carried us through Charlotte and through Philly. Uh, and yeah, and this is the second year for our coach, Pascal Jansen, who has European experience. So just to answer your question, yeah, I think there's a lot of optimism. This is a team that I think should uh, bring some excitement back for the 2026 season, and yeah, just excited to see what they can do this season now that the season's about 2 weeks away.
The most
Yeah,
exciting.
I would definitely. Oh, sorry about that.
No, I'm
um,
sorry.
I would definitely echo that with Pascal Janssen. I feel like he was, for being a first year coach with New York last year, I feel like New York was one of the more consistently well coached teams in the league. And I think it definitely showed in the playoff run itself, where he just kind of locked in and they played their game to the best of their ability, whether it was a multi-goal game or a one goal game. So they didn't really stumble regardless of the situation where they were in. And that's definitely a symptom of good coaching. So I think that's going to be an X factor for you guys this coming season.
I'm actually surprised to hear that Talis Magno's back. I didn't realize that. Um, when I saw that he was sent out on loan, I thought that was it. I thought he was gonna get sold somewhere, never see him in MLS again. So that's interesting because I think he's talented. I think he's a talented player, but for whatever reason, it feels like it wasn't working out for him in New York.
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting now that obviously when he was here the first time, it was under Nick Cushing, who is gone now. So, like you guys mentioned, Pascal Jansen is a good coach. It'll be interesting how Pascal sees his ability and how he can bring the best out of him if he were to use him. So we'll see. I think that's going to be an ongoing story, something to keep an eye out on, and something for myself, throughout the upcoming season to monitor. Hopefully he stays. I think he does have a lot of talent. Maybe it was just how he was being used with Nick Cushing, but we'll see. But yeah, Boss, I don't know if you have something to say.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think just on NYCFC's front, like or just on the on the Talis Magno part, I think if Pascal Janssen could just keep him on the wing, that's where he thrived under Nick Cushing when he had that free reign of being able to take players on and not so much center forward who has to make deep runs and press teams. So it should be interesting with him staying around because I myself thought, just like you, Matt, that he had one foot on a banana peel and another foot out the door when it came to coming back to NYCFC.
Yeah. Um. All right. So here's a question. It's a question for both of you guys. It might even be like you guys might disagree on the answer to the question, but in terms of both New York teams, who I is it, who do you think in terms of the two teams has had a better offseason in terms of transfers in and out?
Easily the Red Bulls. I honestly
Yeah.
would disagree with Ronnie. I think most fans, if I were to just go by what I'm reading online,
Hmm.
I think they're really upset with the lack of investment that the team has done and letting go of guys like Justin Hack, who I know he's not playing under the same front office now, but they deemed him surplus to requirements at the
That's
start of
insane
last
to me.
season. That's so crazy that you tell a
Yeah,
player that, then you play him every game of your upcoming season, then
and he has
expect
a
him to resign.
fantastic season too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I think like letting or not letting go, but having departures like that really hurt the quality of the team, and coming into this next season, and I don't think they've done enough to just replace these few guys with Andres Pereira being out long term with that injury, who I thought was the linchpin of that midfield that allowed NYCFC to have that creativity with their wing backs and with their wingers and with Alonso Martinez being able to counter attack like uh, one of the best number nines that the league had seen in that transitional phase of games, I think, last year. So it's a lot of big pieces that are out and not a lot of coming in. So I think the Red Bulls take that one easily in terms of what they've replaced and all
Hmm.
the dead weight that they've been able to shed, and being able to bring in some money for these guys. Because even Sean Nealis, who I honestly really liked on the team and I would have liked to see him stay, they got a pretty penny from him from DC. Daniel
Yeah.
Edelman went for almost a mil in GAM. Like, that's good money. And for as much as I'd like to keep these guys, at the end of the day, they didn't make the playoffs, and we have to take that into consideration when it came to these departures. And what they've brought in has been not on the same quality, but I think a Justin Che, when you compare him to someone like Kyle Duncan, who was a high TAM contract. One guy, Justin Che, was with Bayern Munich. Like he was
Hmm.
part of that same youth team with Dallas that had the likes of Weston McKennie and Ricardo Pepi.
Yeah.
He's no slouch in terms of quality. So I really like what the Red Bulls have done this offseason.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna give it to the Red Bulls, just being more active this offseason for sure. No, Vash hit it right on the nail. Like, yes, this is a team that should get back to the playoffs, but like, definitely on social and Twitter and Instagram, fans were really upset with the club on letting Justin Hack walk away so easily. I
Yeah.
think from what I read that the club have did offer or gave a higher offer than the Galaxy, but I think ultimately Justin Hack just wanted to try something new and kind of already had his mind made that he wanted to just move on, and rightfully so. He's been a homegrown with the club. I believe he's been with the club since it was first started, like around 2015, 14. So
How?
at some point, a player has to flap his wings.
Yeah. How old is Hack now? It's like
He
24,
is about 23,
23.
24. I have to look, but yeah, um,
Yeah,
he
he
is 24.
24. He was a guy when I saw he was gonna be a free agent. I was like, Columbus needs to test has to try to jump on this because we have our center back depth is terrible, and Nate's making the face. He knows. Um, but yeah, he went to the Galaxy. Galaxy has been reloading really well, getting Glesnes and Hack and a few other signings too. They're getting guys who have been in this league and know how to play in this league. Um, but back with the New York teams. Um, so but with New York City, this is a question that I mean, you guys have a new stadium coming up, right? In a few years. When's the stadium
Yep,
come?
should be ready. Yeah, should be ready for next year, later half of next year. So I believe
Okay.
fall of 2027.
How has it been playing in a baseball stadium?
Man, it's at this point we don't know anything else besides playing at Yankee Stadium or Citi Field.
Yeah.
But I think the club has definitely tried to solidify Yankee Stadium or Citi Field as opposed to playing at Red Bull from like 2 seasons ago. But I
Hmm.
think as a worst case, I think we did have one game or two there last season. But for the most part, yeah, the club I think is just ready to get that stadium rolling.
Hmm.
And yeah, it should be ready for next year. Construction's coming along really good. It's going to be in Willits Point in Queens. There's been rumblings of possibly a casino getting built
Oh,
next door,
interesting.
affordable housing, and yeah, it's going to be an up and coming area within next to the stadium within Queens.
Solid.
Didn't they play an Open Cup match last season in like Connecticut? Am I remembering that correctly?
It was a handful of seasons ago.
I'm not sure if
It was in
yeah, it
Harrisburg.
wasn't last season, but it was yeah, it was a few seasons ago. But yeah, we did play at was it Whitney Pratt Stadium or I believe in Connecticut.
That's wild.
Yeah, that one was a ride. That one was a trek to go over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that I remember watching it on TV and I'm like, this is kind of janky, but also kind of cool because they're taking an opportunity to get into another community that's not, not their home, but it's also a tournament that's not well attended to begin with. So to take that initiative and try to get into another community and expose people to the team, I thought was a neat thing that they did with the unique situation of being in a baseball stadium to begin with.
Yeah, I can't
Does
wait for all the baseball jokes to be over next year.
yeah. I was gonna ask with that does it affect the atmosphere as much as it looks like it does? Because you're not like on top of the field like most stadiums are. Does it affect how fans experience the game live?
No, I think at Yankee Stadium, the stadium is pretty open, so almost in any section you sit, you're looking like you have a good view of the pitch. I will say, like, I think fans are obviously looking forward to the stadium just because it's been talked about for so long, man. This has been like rumblings from like easily 5 years ago. And I know it just got, planned out and confirmed like a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. But this was something that was brought up by the club when it was first actually, when it was first starting off. So
Hmm.
the fact that we're finally getting it done and, almost 10 years later after the club was founded, long overdue, man. Long overdue. And yeah, I think the club is just ready to move in once it's ready and finally have a home instead of being known for being known as a club that just a nomad just moved from stadium to stadium.
Yeah. I mean, yes, you've played at what 4 or 5 different stadiums over the years. Yeah, that's a lot. That would be hard to deal with. Um. Okay, so it's not Red Bull Arena anymore, right? With the Red Bulls, it's a different name.
Yeah, it's Sports Illustrated Stadium now.
Okay, so
So
we have a contender for worst name for stadium with us now. 'Cause we're Scott's Miracle Grow Field now, and I
yeah,
hate that name.
what is these names, man? I don't even know. It's so crazy to me. Like we're all still gonna call it the original name at the
Yeah,
end of the day. It's
yeah,
just a
yeah,
branding
definitely.
thing. It's a way to get the team's money. And I know the Red Bulls. When they signed that deal with Sports Illustrated, they
Hmm.
became the second highest grossing contract for a stadium rights name, only behind LAFC.
Wow.
So,
How does
although
Sports
it
Illustrated have
changes
that
the
money?
Yeah,
that's
they
what I'm
haven't
saying.
been
Like
relevant for
it's
20
a dying
years.
magazine, right? I thought I was the only one who was thinking that.
Yeah.
But it's interesting what they've done with the inside of the stadium. They also actually put like when you used to ride the path, you'd see Red Bull Arena, but there was never anything really indicating what it was.
Hmm.
Now you actually see like they built something that says Sports Illustrated Stadium, which
Interesting.
now I guess easily be replaced moving further down the line after that 10-year deal is done.
Um. Okay, so this is. Don't take this question the wrong way, but this is for both New York teams. But so the Red Bulls and New York City both are owned by an ownership group that owns a ton of teams, right? Do you feel, but this is a question for both of you guys, does it feel in terms of how ownership treats the team like they're feeder clubs or like they're secondary to the other teams, or do you feel like the ownership cares about their MLS clubs as much as they do their European and South American clubs?
I think personally for Red Bull, It feels good to say these days that they're not really an afterthought. I know for a good amount of time, the way that the team was being run under guys like Dennis Hamlet and
Mhm.
when Gerhard Struber and Chris Armas were here, and post 3 Shields in 5 years, as a fan base, you're going to want to continue that momentum that hopefully will lead to an MLS Cup.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're not. Few close Eastern Conference Finals, losing to teams like Toronto FC. Things happen. But at the end of the day, I think the way that things have played out for the overall market and for the team when it comes to Red Bull global standing has increased because you had guys, someone who was quite literally Jurgen Klopp's one of his closest friends being the coach of Red Bull New York and Sandra Schwartz,
Yeah.
and it opened up that dialogue of we need some investment. And it's kind of funny because at the start of last year, Red Bull kind of did not open up their wallets as much as they did this year, but they got in guys like Alexander Hack, who was a German Bundesliga stalwart and had that relationship with Sandro from his previous club in Mainz. But it's still hard to say that even as a fan base,
Hmm.
that you don't feel like an afterthought because we had how many seasons of not having all three DPs filled up? I think this is the first year and I think at least 2-3 years that we have like every designated player slots filled, and one of them at the start of next season could be bought down to the TAM deal. So it's like, all right, yeah, we got like I think they're great signings, but there's still, in my opinion, a lot more that could be done because I remember when the Red Bulls were the highest, they had the most expensive team in MLS history being fielded with guys like Dwayne De Rosario in the number 10, Thierry Henry as a striker. Uh, they just had Dax McCarty in defensive midfield. A bunch of big contracts that were being shelled out when you were a New York Red Bull, and that was always one of those destination clubs that agents talked about overseas, and most of the big names would get linked to. So I think the Red Bull should still be able to have that pull if they really cared. So although it's hard to say that we're an afterthought because of what they've done, at least in the last transfer market, it's
Hmm.
shown that they actually care and they're proactive in what they want to do with this club and try to elevate it. And you could also say with the investment that they've done in building the training center and having a lot of these players not just depart to the bigger feeder clubs like Leipzig or Salzburg. You've only seen that I think for two different players. Cade Cow, not Cade Cowell. It was the attacking
Uh,
midfielder.
Caden. What's his name?
Caden,
Yeah.
Caden
Yeah.
Clark. There we go.
Clark.
Caden
Clark.
Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Caden Clark and Tyler Adams are only two Red Bull players who've made that jump to Red Bull Leipzig
Hmm.
that Leipzig paid for. But, we retain our talent. We get to do what we want with our team. We don't exactly have an overlord kind of bearing over us. No offense, kind of feel like NYCFC and Citigroup have done with, I think, Chris McFarland, who's supposed to be this wonder kid. I think wasn't Gio Reyna in NYCFC's academy as well. Like I think a lot of talent that could have stayed on the team ends up being poached by City Football Group or their feeder clubs. Didn't Girona sign Tati Castellanos? Like then they signed Alexander Callens. So I think when you think about which market is more of a feeder club, you got to look to the blue side of the Hudson.
There is one thing you said that I completely forgot, and that was that De Rosario played for your club for a year. He's one of my favorite players in MLS history, and yeah, I forgot completely that he played in New York for a year. But
It was like 6 months
yeah.
actually, and it's funny because that season he got traded for. Okay, he actually wasn't playing with Dax McCarty. He got traded for Dax McCarty from DC United, and
Hmm.
was the first player in MLS history to win an MLS MVP award for a team that didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's
So De
wild.
Rosario is
That guy,
a baller, man. Like
yeah, dude, that
he's
dude
a
is crazy.
legend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He still today has the best free kick goal I've ever seen in my opinion. And
yeah. 1,000%. The 2004 goal of the year,
Yeah,
2005 goal of the
yeah,
year. Yeah, he
that,
won back-to-back goals of the year. That's
yeah.
crazy in
He had
itself.
that nice volley right after that too. Yeah. But yeah, sorry for City. Same question.
Yeah, I was just gonna say a little bit of what Vas said. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of fans do expect City NYCFC to do more. They expect more of this club, being that we are affiliated and are part of City Football Group. Like Vas mentioned, you've seen little rumblings of the affiliation when Pati Castellanos went to Girona in La Liga.
Hmm.
Um, we got Thiago Martins, who's one of our veterans from Japan from Yokohama Marinos. And just most recently, we just acquired a defender right during this offseason, Kai Truan, who came from Melbourne. But aside from that, man, I think just this club has really gone down this model where they are just looking for talent, in different markets where they can develop and then sell them at a higher cost. Like, and it's been you would think that a club like NYCFC, it's a selling point, right? You become a fan. Like if may say you're a Man City fan, like, oh, I want to follow NYC because they're a New York market or they're associated with Man City or the City Football Group, but you don't see too much of it, to be honest. And
Yeah.
right now, I think with Pascal Jansen, we're linked with a striker from Schalke, and yeah, I think like I don't know, just for the most part, it depends on the coach. Nick Cushing, I know was kind of in that route too, looking at different markets. But for the most part, I do think the club could do more into leveraging its affiliation, and that's another topic too, just on how fans really do voice that frustration on, you know, like having a quiet off season, or
Hmm.
why we couldn't buy, or re-sign Justin Hack so easily. If we have all this money, we have the name, we have the leverage. So yeah, it does get frustrating after a while. And like I said, you've seen little hints of the City Football Group throughout, little moves here and there,
Hmm.
but definitely the club could do more. And that's something that for myself as a journalist and also as a fan, I'd love to see more of. You know,
Yeah. Okay. Nate, if you have one other question, I'll close with a series of quick questions, but I'll let you go with something, and then we'll close up with what I have.
Yeah, I had one from the list that we had, so give me 1 second.
Yeah. While he's do. Oh, you found it.
So
There you go.
with the we mentioned before how the um atmosphere in the NYC stadiums feels, but between the Hudson River Derby, what's the vibe like between the two teams? Does it feel like a heated rivalry? Does it feel like a
Manufactured.
Saturday at the park kind of thing?
Yeah.
Like what does it feel like for you guys as fans and as kind of outside looking in as journalists? What the rivalry feels like on the river?
So I know I could speak for a lot of, I think, both sides of the river when I say when you see the calendar drops and all of the fixtures are being sorted out, everybody pencils and circles that date around the Hudson River Derby.
Hmm.
I feel like if it's from the red side of New York, I still consider DC United our main rival. I think that pisses off NYCFC fans even more because they just sound like a noisy little brother. But I think the natural rivalry, outside of just it being fabricated by Major League Soccer, that is formed from the animosity of both fan groups having brawls happen. I'm not trying to condone any of the violence that has spawned from the rivalry itself, but you see how passionate, I'll just put it like that. You can see how passionate fans get when it comes to both of their teams and what it means for each one to win those specific games, to the point that now I think it's the third year that it's going to start that they have a trophy that's handed to the winner of the Derby, which is like a Statue of Liberty uh, torch. I can't remember what it's called, but the winner of the Hudson River Derby ends up getting awarded that little trophy. Kind of like between, I think, Chicago and the Crew. They used to have the Tillium Cup
Oh, it's
back in the
Toronto.
day.
Toronto and the Crew. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was Toronto and Columbus, yeah. And I know
No,
like DC,
yeah, it's not
the
big.
Red Bulls
Yeah.
have the Atlantic Cup, so it's one of those little. I think that spawned just out of that rivalry. And when you talk to any of the younger fans, again, I feel like I've been pretty seasoned when it comes to being both on the sidelines and in the stands
Mhm.
for both sides of the rivalry. And yeah, it gets heated, man. A lot of people don't like each other. I try to, I'm peace and love out here, you know. I'm chilling, but I feel like everyone else is kind of just trying to kill each other most of the time.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I could echo that sentiment. It's definitely hostile territory depending on which stadium we're playing in. But yeah, I think it's a date that no matter which side of the river you're in, it's a date that you circle in, and it's bragging rights, man. It's bragging rights.
Hmm.
Like obviously, I know NYCFC took both derbies, I believe, this past season, and I know Red Bull fans always bring up the red wedding for NYCFC, versus NYCFC that happened years ago. I know NYCFC some have it much close, but like I know there was I think a result in 2024 where we beat the Red Bulls 5-1. But yeah, man, it's just banter. It's
Yeah.
banter. Like it's bragging rights. It's like both teams may not win an MLS Cup. We may not win Supporter Shield, but it's something that like in the comments on social media, like we whooped you guys whatever the score was this past season, this past year on the last derby. It's banter, man, and it's something that like it's a game that you want to win and you need to win for the New York market. It just means a lot. It's one of those special games, at least here in New York, where blue means a lot and red means a lot for whichever side you're going for.
Where would you guys like? I know you have a bias because you follow these clubs, but where do you rank that rivalry in MLS? Like next to like Cascadia or Hell is Real or El Trafico? Like where would you put the Hudson River Derby?
Not trying to be biased at all. I think it's a top five rivalry, possibly in that number five spot in the league. I think
Okay.
Hell is Real is really hard to top just because of what's, again, I like the natural part of how that's formed, and the
Yeah.
distance of it is very unique in that aspect. Having that sign that leads you into the place itself is cool as hell. But I think the history that Cascadia just holds is hard to top for any MLS market because
Yeah.
they have that history of the NASL that they've been competing against each other from the Whitecaps, the Sounders, and the Timbers. So
Yep.
kind of hard to compete with that and say that's not number one. I think that they're taking that spot easily, and I think number two, it's just because of the size of the crowds that they've been able to bring out at the Rose Bowl. El Tráfico is hard to top as well, but I think behind the like I said, Hell is Real. Who else is fourth, really? You know, who if you Inter Miami and Orlando, that's like not really
Yeah.
a fair rivalry, and it hasn't exactly spawned any sort of meaningful matchups. I think Orlando and NYCFC have a bigger rivalry than Miami and Orlando because of those playoff games that they've had. Rodrigo Schlegel literally becoming a goalkeeper and denying a goal in the penalty shootout in City Field. Might I say it? Those are the things that spawn rivalries. So I
Yeah.
think when it comes to the fact that it's a derby, that you can say the proximity of it is so close, and it represents more than I think just New York. I think the tri-state area as a whole has been represented because you have that Jersey flavor, you have that five boroughs flavor. So it's unique in that aspect, and I think a lot of the
Hmm.
players who have come from overseas have really felt that kind of nature of we just want to get one over them, and the bragging rights that comes with it has spawned a lot of not just memes but good moments for both fan bases to try to like talk smack on the other one.
Yeah.
So I'd say number five. I'd say it's literally a number five in the league. That's
Okay.
my number.
I would say, so look, I'm more of a modern MLS fan. I know Voss has been watching MLS way before I have. I got into MLS when NYCFC was announced and started playing since 2015.
Hmm.
Uh, for me, I'd say top three. I think as a fan and somebody who covers this league, El Tráfico is probably up there for me as number one. El is Real, I'd say, is definitely my two. And then I think the New York market, the Hudson River Derby, has to be number three for me. I know, Voss, you mentioned the Cascadia rivalry, and I know it's there, but for, I guess, the newer fans, like they see something on TV like El Tráfico or that matchup, I think they're going to probably tune in more to the Tráfico, which has more appealing names, bigger matchups, But I can never forget, Chicharito versus Vela, Zlatan
Yeah.
versus Vela, like some of those matchups. But yeah, I'd give it top three for the Hudson River Derby as a rivalry here in MLS. And I will say too, just NYCFC does have a pretty rivalry as of these past few years with Philly. There's always every time either Philly comes to us or we go to Philly, it's going to be a war. Uh, Orlando, I would put up there too, just because obviously how things have gone these past few seasons, and I remember that Schlegel game for us, so it's always a good game versus Orlando. But yeah, I'd say those are the top two clubs besides the Derby that as an NYC fan you gotta circle in or at least watch TV if you can't attend those matches. But yeah.
All right. All right. So I have this. I have three questions. They're all together. Each of you guys just answer it for yourselves. But where do you see yourself ending the season? This season, like what position do you see your club ending? Um, who between the two teams is finishing higher between Red Bulls and New York, and one player you think will make or break the season for you? Either one of you guys can go first.
Okay, so I think the Red Bulls, they finished 10th last season with 43 points. I think a team like the Union aren't going to do as good as they did last year, so you take them out of first. I think the Crew is definitely going to be competing for a top four spot. Cincy, I don't want to sound biased. We've had Pat Noonan on the show a bunch, so
Hmm.
I don't want to sound biased, but I think
Yeah,
Cincy
they're
looks pretty
good.
good.
They're good.
They look really good. And I feel like they're like the Union like 5 years ago. They're like a forever second place team, man. Like they'll make a final, they'll make a run, but they can't win the actual trophy.
Yep.
And I think with that, taking that in mind, you just automatically slot into Miami at that number one spot. Atlanta can't be any worse than they were last year. But I think they still finished like an 8th spot. And I think just because of the fact that I was mentioning it earlier, Michael Bradley is way too green for me to say confidently he finishes fourth in the. I think that's a big ask for a rookie head coach. So I think realistically, better than 10th, let's say 7th. I think the Rebels could finish at least 7th place
Okay.
under Michael Bradley and say that you're in the playoffs this time, and we've seen them get hot at the right time before and make a run. Who's to say these guys can't do it again? The second question was, do I think they'll do better than NYCFC? Honestly, I don't think that NYCFC is going to make the playoffs. I'm calling it now. I think
All right.
relying on 40-year-old Maxi Morales to play every single game again, letting go of guys like Mateo Linic, who I know he didn't exactly always contribute on the goals and assist charts, but he's a guy who hustled, and I think relying on Tavon Gray, who just had, or not Tavon Gray. Tavon Gray is great, but they have the right winger who was balling out, a younger, uh, who unfortunately once he went down, it's like who's going to pick up the mantle to like spread the field for them. I think relying on a young player who's coming back from an injury to lead your attack when your leading goal scorer is out, when you're the numbers, I guess like the Trequartista of the team. The guy who was like the Pirlo Gattuso type, which is in my opinion Andres Pereira. He's not playing this year, so I think there's a lot that needs to be filled. And for as good as Janssen is, and for as much of a home field advantage that the baseball stadiums tend to give NYCFC, because I know Ronnie didn't mention it,
Nobody
those
wants to play.
field dynamics, even when you're in those top rows, yeah, you have a good view for a really small field, that really exemplifies it. But no, I just think that they do really have like a competitive edge when they play at either City Field or Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
So even if you take that into account, I don't think they're going to be able to do enough on the road again this upcoming season. So we saw the Red Bulls kind of do the opposite the year before. They kept on winning on the road but couldn't win at home. This past year they were winning at home but they couldn't win on the road. So we see if you can't win your games on the road, you will not make the playoffs. As opposed to that when you do win on the road, you can make the playoffs. So that's like the deciding factor for me. I don't think NYCFC is going to be able to pick up as many points as they did last year and be those road warriors that they really stood out to be. And I'm sorry, what was the last question?
A
Was a
make
player
or break player for your team. Yeah.
okay? I think if we get as many games out of Choupo-Moting as we did last season at his age, I think we were pretty good in terms of who's going to be putting the balls in the back of the net because he now has outlets for his attack.
Yeah.
He's kind of a guy who, of course, he was spearheading the attack, but he had no options on the wings. We had Sofo at that. I think the only winger or natural right midfielder that the team was left with, outside of maybe Dennis Yengar, was kind of a bust as a U22. So I think having guys like Kate Cowell and the other winger from Pumas are gonna do wonders for him. Just getting assists and having the service to put more balls in the back of the net. So I think Choupo-Moting is going to be the make or break player. Because if he goes down, I'm not sure who picks up the goal scoring mantle. To be honest,
That sounds like Abu Ali for us last year. Or we had no goal
oh, but
scorer. He
he's
came
actually
in.
linked to Red Bull.
Sorry.
He was linked to Red Bull before he joined the
Oh,
crew, and
before he
I was
joined.
hoping that we'd bring him in, but you guys, that's a great signing. That I think he's going to be able to really flourish under the new head coach.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, then I can just jump in for the blue side. So where do I think NYC is going to end up? I think I can maybe predict that we're going to be in the mix. I'm not saying we're going to be a top three, top four, but I think I can see ourselves riding around the 5, 6 spot throughout the season. Uh, Obviously, like I mentioned to start off the show, we're missing our main striker and Alonso
Yep.
Martinez. So that is one of the big questions for the club of where are the goals going to come from. So that's going to be something that's going to be determined throughout the season. Uh, Towers is back, like I said, so expect hopefully action from him if Pascal does see him in the season with us. But
Mhm.
as far as a make or break player, uh, I'd say Matt Freeze for sure. Matt Freeze
Okay.
is like a rock on goal for us. Like when he does not play, or it's just noticeable. And he last season saved us from a few games that NYCFC could have easily lost or drawn. And I think he made some incredible saves. I'll just say
Mhm.
that I think he was definitely that deciding factor on a few games. So I'd say Matt Freeze is definitely our main guy right now this season. Maxi, I do want to highlight Maxi as well because like I know Vas mentioned, he is 38 years old. I can't predict how many games he's going to play this season. Maybe half. If I can't say all of them for sure. But when he is on the field, he dictates that tempo. He does dictate that midfield, and the way he distributes that ball is just unbelievable. So even if he plays for 60, 70 minutes out of the 90,
Mhm.
he makes that difference in that game. Um, and one other thing I wanted to highlight: this team does have one available DP slot. So
Okay.
the club, Pascal Jensen has mentioned that the club is looking for a replacement for Alonso for those goals. So
Mhm.
if it doesn't happen now during this winter window that's open, I believe, through March, expect a signing from for NYCFC at least this summer because the team definitely acknowledges where they're falling short on right now. And like I don't know, Vas, like Red Bull have a lot of new players coming in, right? I think at core of last year, 2 years ago, those household names like Duncan, Tolkien, those names are gone. So like the Red Bulls are forming a new team, like a new chemistry. So it'll be interesting to watch the Red Bulls too on how the season starts off for them and plays out throughout their season. because they gotta ride through it, and they're gonna make mistakes together. They're gonna get better together, but that's something that takes time. So that's the only reason I mention it. Whereas NYCFC, we do have most of our majority of core players coming back, so that's why I still am a little bit more optimistic. But of course, yeah, I think both teams are going to be interesting, man. But yeah, I think for me, one thing I'm keeping an eye on is where are those goals going to come from this season.
All
We'll
right.
see how that goes. So more to come.
All right, Nate, do you have anything else before we close here?
Nope, that was a good conversation, guys. Thanks for joining
Yeah,
us.
definitely. If people want to find more of your stuff, where can they find you guys?
You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, under Soccer View Radio. I think Ronnie's usually the one who does this a lot better than me. But yeah, it's a Soccer View Radio on all the platforms. You guys can come bother us on our socials. We love interacting with fans.
Yeah.
I love being a part of this conversation first and foremost, Nate and Matt. This was amazing. Huge fan of you guys' work. Like I was letting you guys know before, I have listened to a few episodes in the past, so it's been an honor to be on, and hopefully we guys could return the favor, and maybe we have a crew preview that you guys help us break
That'd
down
be awesome.
throughout the.
Yeah.
But
All
yeah,
right.
Soccer View Radio on everything.
Yes.
Yeah, Soccer View Radio for all of our outlet stuff. You guys want to yell at me personally? I am Sport Historian on Twitter. Funny enough. So
There you go.
you know what? Maybe the Discord name actually worked out this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Matt, Nate, thank you guys for having us, man. We'll always love just interacting with all the podcasts and all the platforms out there. So thank you guys for your time. Appreciate you guys having us.
Yeah. All right. Well, that will close this episode. And I think that'll actually close episode 3 of this preview. So, thanks for listening.
Thanks for watching this episode, guys. Be sure to leave a like on this video and sub to the channel if you are new to the For the Crew podcast. And like always, we want to hear your thoughts and opinions on this video in the comments down below. And we hope to catch you in the next episode. Have a great day. See ya.
For the Crew podcast.